Welcome to the Sports Radio Music Show special. This is the biggest, probably, independent show, event, ever in the history of music and football. It's called Suited and Booted. It's at the home of Alvechurch Football Club.
Looking for a sign, just a throwaway smile, not bright enough to catch its meaning, missed the target by a mile. They won't have a word said, they'll put a price upon your head, clinging to a ship that's sinking, tied up in their wishful thinking. And in the moments before the dawn, the worshippers conform, and all their second-hand dreams are
born. I'm joined by the organiser, Chris.
Yep.
How are you, mate?
I'm fine together, how are you, Robin?
And the top man at Alvechurch.
Richard, the chairman, how you doing? Good to see you.
Firstly, Rich, tell me all about Alvechurch. And this, as I said in the build-up, this is such an event. We're going to be talking through with the bands that you've got on. I've looked at it, it's blown me away. Alright, I'm only like 9.5 stone, but there are some big hitters on that bill. You must be very proud of putting your football club's name to this wonderful event.
We're over the moon. We did it originally to raise some funds for the football club.
Yep.
Non-league football always needs funds wherever possible.
Yep.
We had the idea last year, we put a couple of bands on, local bands. We got 1,400 people, and our social director, Paul and Chris, who you just spoke to, said, let's just do something really big this time. Let's get them down here. We get more people down here. Let's get some of the top bands, and let's get a really good headline act.
Yeah.
So we left it with the specialist, Chris, who knows this scene inside out from his time at the Sound Bar, and he's got us some cracking bands, better than we ever thought it was going to be.
Tell me about the football club. How are things out there? It is, as you said, it's very difficult at that level. You know, there's always issues surrounding football clubs, getting fans in there. Where exactly in Alvechurch is your ground for a starter?
We are straight through the village,
Yep.
about half a mile outside the village on the left-hand side. Last year we celebrated our 100th birthday, and we play our football at Tier 5. For people who don't know what that is, we are 7 promotions from the Premiership.
Yep.
2 or 3 divisions below Solihull Moors, and we're in a funny kind of tier where we are, because people who play with their mates turn up on a Saturday and Sunday, they don't get paid, they play lower down the pyramid, and people hire are either fully semi-pro or pro. We're stuck somewhere in the middle, so we have to find a budget for our players to compete in the division that we're in, but we don't get the fans that the likes of Moors get. We'll get on average about 85 or 90. So every week is a challenge. We've got the wages to pay, we've got landlords to pay, we've got lighting and anything like this, these events. We have to do this to survive as a football club, and we've been there 100 years and we want to stay there, and it's things like this that help us out.
So the thing is, if we lose grassroots, if we lose teams like Alvechurch, our football is in such a poor state. We must support clubs like you, keep them going, because that's where the kids learn the trade. We have ex-players like the horse famously played for you.
Yes, he did, yes.
You've got quite a connection with it, and it's great for the community and the town of Alvechurch as well.
You're absolutely right. We've got a local school in the village, and we've got people that come not just in Alvechurch but around South Birmingham and Redditch. We've got 7 youth teams, we've got a ladies team, and we're proud of our heritage, and we've got quite a good history with getting players onwards and upwards. We have players that have gone and joined Kidderminster, we've got players that have gone on to other big clubs, and of course we've got our most famous one, our patron Alan Smith, who came through the village, played for the team and ended up playing for England.
Smudge. Started. Did he go to Leicester City from you guys?
He went to Leicester. Famously, so I'm told, there's a photo in the club of Ron Atkinson getting out of an old XJS with a sheepskin, a big gold bracelet, and a big cigar, coming to look at Alan Smith and saying, "The boy will never make it."
Well, Ron Atkinson didn't know what he was on about. But I mean, he don't live too far away from you, Big Ron.
No.
Does he ever come round and have a look?
He hasn't been to the club for a while. We see him in the local pub, and he has told us
Yeah.
that he's going to be making an appearance at the Suited and Booted gig and dancing, doing some funky ska with the rest of the boys.
I can well say, I mean, he was 75 not long ago. And
Yes.
we did a sports radio special
Yeah.
with Big Ron.
Yeah.
Absolute top bloke, an
Yes.
absolute legend, and,
Yes.
and a great role model for this area as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We see him all the time. You see him taking his little dogs over at Coughton Park playing golf. He loves football. He'll
Yeah.
speak about it all the time. And he likes his music. And Paul spoke with him. And you know, he might be making an appearance. We'll be glad to see him down there, Big Ron.
Mind you, if you ask him to sing, he'd probably sing as well. Because one of his heroes is Frank Sinatra.
Is that right?
You give him a microphone, ask him to sing That's Life, he'll be closing your Suited and Booted. Talking of closing, Chris, how are you, mate?
Well, I've got to say, I can't have Ron on the stage. He's neither Mod or Scar.
But he's a legend.
He's a legend, yeah. And he's a top man with it, and he's a good
Yeah.
bloke. And he likes his football, as you say. And, but I think this might be a tad young for him.
I think you might be right.
He'll finish him off, I think, if he does.
Well, you never know. Tell us about it, and tell us about your involvement, how you got involved in the music scene.
Yep. Okay, well, for quite a few years, I've promoted bands. I've managed Escobar, who probably the best band who never made it in recent years. I owned the Soundbar for 4 years. Soundbar was deliberately put there because Birmingham lacks venues. It lacks places where you can see anything other than R&B and chart dance. So, you know, it's even worse now in Birmingham, and it's become harder and harder. You get no support from the council. You see places like Coventry will do Godiva Fest. Birmingham's got no equivalent. They had Arts Fest, and that's had the funding for that scrapped. So if you want to put anything on in Birmingham, the only choice you've got is do it yourself, and this will be the biggest event with a Birmingham postcode this year by a country mile. And you know, the next biggest event is V, which is up in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
And we can't compete with Richard Branson. And unlike him, we actually do pay our taxes in the country. It's not all via the Cayman Islands. And what we've sought to do is to put together a lineup. Birmingham's had a huge mod scene for God knows how many years. If you draw a line 25 miles around Birmingham, you'll probably find 50, 60 scooter clubs. It's kind of a scene that's visible in a way by the scooters. But if you listen to the media, the Birmingham Mail and places like that and Central News, you won't see a single event about, about mod. You know, last week you had, Mods for Heroes, attracted no press coverage whatsoever, raised $4,500 for, Teenage Cancer Trust. What we're trying to do here is sort of reflect on that scene. Obviously, Two-Tone has had a massive influence on the area. You know, a lot of the bands came from this neck of the woods. Special, Selector, The Beat, even UB40 were originally part of that scene. They wanted Dexys to sign for Two-Tone, and didn't quite happen. You know, Dexys were too independent.
Yeah.
Even for Jerry Dammers, who was a notoriously sort of liberal guy in terms of allowing people to do what they want to do. So we put this together. It's 15 bands over 2 days. It's a nice mix of original material and people doing covers and people you want to hear. The bands are a nice mix again of mud and ska. No one day is totally dominated by either. It's a good mix of both. And you look at the bands, virtually every one of them bands I've promoted before in a previous life. Some of them, you could put the Iconics on. You could put them on at midday, they'd still be dancing at midnight. I saw them at the Crown recently, they did 3 hours non-stop, and I don't know how the singer keeps going, but a lot of our professional footballers couldn't keep up with him, but he just danced for 3 hours, and that's the kind of music there is. It gets people involved, and I got accosted at the Crown by an 84-year-old woman who tried to drag me up for night boat to Cairo.
Good or bad?
Well, I didn't feel the missus felt too threatened, to be fair. But, that's the kind of music that it is. It's music for everybody. Anyone who comes to this is going to see bands of a real good mix. Local bands like Tempting Rosie.
We're going to go into the bands in a minute.
Yep.
Media, you touched on that. Have they been helping you?
Not really. I mean, you look at it and go, it's down to what you do yourself. I collared Colin Tatham down the Blues on Friday night. He's promised to help me get a piece in the mail. Whether he remembers it when he's sobered up, I don't know. Because we'd all had a few when we had this conversation. It was 1:30 in the morning down St Andrews on the Players 90s night. But I suspect I'll get something in the mail eventually. But other than that, you don't expect an awful lot of help. But they should really, because they should want things to go on. We're the second biggest city, and in music terms, in terms of places for people to go, events that are put on, it's second rate, not second best.
Yeah.
And it's not good enough really. I mean, unless people do things, it won't happen. And then it's down then to the people of Birmingham and to some extent Worcestershire, Alvechurch, Redditch, all those places down there where people say, well, I don't know what happens in Redditch. Well, it's on your doorstep, 2 miles down the road. Come and support it, because that's the only way things will carry on. And the intention for this is that, as Rich said, it started off as 4 bands last year, a 1-day event. This year it's 15 bands, 2 days.
Yeah.
We want this to be an annual thing, and we want to have, bring decent bands to it, bands who give you a good time, and that's the theme of this in a lot of ways. Ska and mod is good time music. It's people who just want to enjoy themselves. You don't put your best suit on and go to a mod gig to get into a fight. You never see any trouble at these things. They're always, really totally music orientated for people. Very family friendly as well. So, we've said kids under 12 can come in free. We may regret that if we get 3,000 of them or whatever else, screaming, wondering where One Direction are, but that's another thing.
I'm guessing you're not having One Direction here.
No, over my dead body. That'd be my quitting point, to be fair.
So, the interview just ceased if you was, to be honest.
I think you're on safe ground there, mate.
And it's on the 24th and the 25th, isn't it, of May? Is that correct?
It is, and, the Saturday is headlined with the Small Fakers. The Sunday is the slightly more prestigious day because you've got the Selector. We wanted to end it on a real high. Bank holiday Sunday, you can sort of dance yourself senseless, and you've got all day Monday to recover, which is perfect.
Local radio stations like IDM and BRMB and the rest of them, have they got on board? Because they are primarily a music station. I would think with something like Suited and Booted, they'd be down their street and they'd be singing it from the rooftops.
Well, you'd like to hope so. I mean, you'd like to think they'll get to hear about it. I mean, all we can do is turn around and say to them, look, there's an event out there, it deserves your support.
Sure.
There's 1 or 2 people locally who actually are half decent. I mean, if you ever email Anne Nightingale, for example, she'll always email you back. It's not her music, unfortunately, but Radio WM might be a decent shout for it, because
without a doubt,
I think you look at them, they've supported other things. I noticed recently they did a feature on the Dexys book that's coming out and stuff like that. So, they're obviously interested in what's going on locally. And trying to, Birmingham's got a fantastic musical heritage. And there's some of these bands, when you get into the band, you'll realise just how many of them are local and how many of them are really good. And a lot of them have to go all around the country to get the recognition they should be getting in their own city.
It's very difficult, as you say. Let's start on the Saturday. And the band that's starting the whole shebang off, probably the greatest talent on this planet at the moment for me. Sammy
I don't
Rogers.
think we've got Lionel Messi's.
Sammy Rogers band, innit?
Yeah, we've got the Sammy Rogers band kicking you off, and there is no sort of warm-up bands in this. There's no bands that you're putting on there as filler. They're all quality bands. And Samuel Rogers, they're good musicians. They know their stuff. They've got a great vocalist for them, and they'll start it off in the right vein, and that's exactly how you
Don't
want it.
rewrite a tune. Have you heard that EP of his that's out? Turn It Up.
I've heard a bit of the stuff, but not a lot. They're a band who are becoming more well known around Birmingham. They're playing a lot more gigs and stuff like that, and that's the only way you can get there. Get out there, play, let people hear your music, and this is a good opportunity for the bands. Because frankly, if we can get a couple of thousand down there, we should be our ideal. It's a great platform for bands who've probably never played in front of a couple of hundred in some cases before.
my side. Hey, 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 oh, hey. The mommy dance and mommy land, I thought it's too good to be true. The more I found me hand coming, the more I feel for you. Ooh, ooh. When we got talking, the time ain't never. Hey, well I'm just this broken forever and ever. Hey, hey, 'cause you girl, baby. Hey, 'cause I'm you girl, baby. Hey, I ain't got a single word behind my mind. Hey, 'cause you wipe me clear. Ooh, I've only got you on my mind now. Now that you're here, hey, love is by my side. Hey, 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 oh, hey, love is by my side. Hey, 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 oh, hey. The more I found, the more I fell for you. Ooh, the more I found, the more I fell for you. The more I found, the more I fell for you. Ooh, the more I found, the more I fell for you. Oh, the more I found, the more I fell for you. Ooh, the more I found, the more I fell for you. Oh, the more I found, the more I fell for you. The more I found, the more I fell for you.
Who else you got on the Saturday? Let's have the lineup. Let's have Saturday's lineup.
Okay, so we've got the Get-Go.
Tell me about them.
The Get-Go are a London band.
Yeah.
They're a three-piece mod band, play original music.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear the lead singer, people say he's got a voice on a par with Steve Marriott.
Blimey.
You can't give, a mod band a better compliment than that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they play old school rhythm and blues. They're not the R. Kelly rhythm and blues. The old school rhythm and blues as it came through, what the Who would call maximum R&B.
Yeah.
That's the type of music that they play. It's all original. They've got a right growl on them. They're good lads. They'd have come up here for nothing. You know, obviously we're not the kind of people who exploit people.
Yep.
You know, so they really wanted to play and they deserved a slot on it. You know, just before them we've got Ordinary Affair. We tried to get them to play the Sunday. They couldn't do the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They kept in touch with us. They kept wanting to do it. As Rich said, they've got a huge following on Twitter up the northeast. 16,000 people follow them.
Are they covers?
They're a covers band,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
you know, they do their own take and covers. They're not typically mod in that. So you know, you're not just going to hear like 23 rehashes of My Generation. You're going to hear a bit more than that. But they offered to come down just for petrol money.
Yeah,
that's how much they wanted to play because they realised it's a good event to be part of. And there's bands like that who are prepared to travel a long way.
Musicians do that, don't
they?
Yeah,
and they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they want to get out in front of people and play. They want exposure and they want to come down and they want to see what's what. And, essentially that's what we've been trying to say out of them. We've been saying, come down. It's a great gig to be part of. Look at the bands you're surrounded by. And we have got a cracking lineup of bands. There's no getting away from it, When I look at it and see the bands who I've got on that day, following them, we've got Heavy Soul. They're a Leicester band. Yeah. They've just made their Birmingham debut about a month or so ago.
Red Line, didn't they?
No, before the Red Line. They played the Adam and Eve on the Friday night and smashed that.
Yeah.
And then obviously they came down and they played the Red Lion. Mez has got a club night down there called Deep Joy.
Yep.
I know you're familiar with it.
Yeah, top stuff.
Mez is also our event DJ for both days. So he's in for a couple of long days, his mess. So what he's going to do in between the bands and to save people hearing line checks and drummers going 1-2 for half an hour, Mez is going to spin some tunes over the top. So we've managed to sort him out with some top-of-the-range Pioneer decks now, so he's a happy man.
He'll be pulling his hair out.
He hasn't got any hair, as you know too well. And so, but no, he's a perfect guy to do it, because as you know, he's a big part of the local music scene. Loves his mod, loves his ska, and you know, he's another one. He does it for all the right reasons.
Yeah, bang on.
And you know, the night that he's created at the Red Line that he does deserves support, and you know, and it's nice that we've got a time with that. And you know, a lot of the bands who we're going to feature, he'll have on at the Red Line at some point, either before or after, you know, gigs, because people will want to see him again. So we got him looking after. So Heavy Soul, they're a covers band, but you know, they've got a reputation of being one of the best cover bands that are around.
I've heard that.
Then after that, we've got the Southmartins, and they are a unique band. They're coming down from Middlesbrough. I put them on in September at the Institute. We sold the Institute out, and they were brilliant. Apparently, he had a bad throat, but you wouldn't know it. Fantastic lead singer. He's got Paul Heaton down to a T. The girl who he has playing with him does the Jackie Abbott role perfectly. In a slightly better looking form, actually. She's a good looking girl. And, you know, you couldn't give a band who covers the Southmartins and the beautiful South a better accolade than the fact that Paul Heaton's pub in Salford up in Manchester is putting them on for 2 nights to launch his new album. That's how much he thinks of them, and that's how good they actually are. And I think a lot of people don't either really mod or ska, but I think they're going to appeal to everybody. And I'll tell you, I saw them, and they for about an hour they just went full at it, full pelt, and they were brilliant. You know, and they've got some great songs to cover, and no one else is doing it. So fair play to them. You know, so
are they the only one?
They're the only Beautiful South and Southmartins cover that I'm aware of. And you know, and if there's another one who's anywhere near as good as them, I'd love to get them. But you know, they go out and they do both the bands, and it's a tough band to live up to, because you know, they're a band who can sing. So we got the Southmartins then. Then we got the Iconics. Your classic ska band that can play for hours and hours and hours, and somehow they only ever find the up-tempo songs. And they cover everybody from, like, you know, sort of original Prince Buster stuff right the way through to, you know, the Madnesses and the Bad Manners and whatever else. And you know, they've got the organ pumping away behind them. You know, they've got a nice mix of, like, they look like a two-tone band, to be honest with you. You know, they've got a nice mix of black and white guys in it, and they've got a lead singer who's got a big personality and a lot of energy. As I say, they did 3 hours non-stop at the Crown, and they didn't even look out of breath. And you know, if it weren't for the fact that the English Beat were playing down at the Academy, they'd have probably carried on playing for another couple of hours. So Iconics, they're coming up from I think the Watford way, Hertfordshire, and a good band. And you know, I saw them first. They did a warm-up gig at the Crown in Brum for the specials. And people were saying, how good are these? So you know, I'd had my eye on them, and then obviously sort of got the chance to get them and brought them in. And then we end Saturday with the Small Fakers, and they're by some distance the best mod band in Britain. You know, to call them a covers band or a tribute band is really an insult to them. And am I allowed to swear? Because I'll give you a direct quote from one of the remaining Small Faces.
I prefer you to not, but bollocks to it, carry on.
Well, Ian McLagan, one of the remaining Small Fakers who's still alive today, heard them, and the quote was, "Fuck me, it's us." And that says all you want to know about them. They're brilliant. I've personally put them on half a dozen times. They always pull a crowd, and they're a big favourite on the mod scene because they turn up. You never get a bad gig with them. You know, they're lovely guys with it. They're consummate professionals. Their last gig at Birmingham, they broke down on the way out with all the gear. Instead of trying to pull out and make excuses like a lot of bands did, they got off their arse, got in a couple of cars, got up here and borrowed the gear to play. And they turn out and put a blinding set, and that's the kind of people they are. They're the right kind of people, the people you want, because you know you're just going to get out there and you're just going to enjoy them.
So Saturday night finishes. People don't have to go home; they can camp there, can't they?
We've got camping on the site.
How's that working?
Well, there's camping at various parts on the ground itself. There's a couple of fields for overflow if we get too many people wanting to camp, and you know there'll be toilet facilities, the shower facilities, and whatever else. There'll be places where people can buy food. We've got half a dozen bars this time around. I think one of the lessons that we learned from last year was never keep a man waiting for a drink, or a woman for that matter. And some of our women like a drink as much as our men, so that's fair comment. So 6 bars this time will cover it. I think Mr. Weaver here has arranged a refrigerated lorry, so Brummies have got a hard drinking reputation to live up to. So if they drink us dry, no one will be happier than us. And Alvechurch will be trying to sign Ronaldo next year.
Just before we come on to Sunday, back to the gaffer of Alvechurch. They ain't going to be churning up your pitch. Your groundsmen ain't going to be very happy. Where are they camping?
They're camping on the pitch.
Oh, right,
yeah, we in May. End of April, beginning of May, the ground's really hard. So much so that last year we had some of the scooter boys from South Birmingham Scooter Club having a little ride round, a little ride out on the pitch, and it's rock hard. We start our treatment probably about a week after the festival's finished. Pitch will come up, new one will be put down, and we'll have enough time for the start of the season to get the lads playing football.
Now, on your side, obviously Birmingham City, Aston Villa, West Bromwich Albion, the big three in this area.
Yeah.
Any of them guys helping you out, putting your advert in the programme, and
We've got, funnily enough, you should say that we're in the Blues pro. We're quite blue down where we are. I think you know that anyway. But we don't hold it against anybody if they want to come in claret and blue, especially on an event like this, because it's all for charity as well as helping the football club.
Tell me the 2 charities that it's for.
Right,
saying that.
Help for Heroes goes without saying. And we're really close to a couple of people who spend a lot of time and effort every day supporting Birmingham Autism. One of our friends has 2 children that both suffer with Asperger's, and it's a full-time job for them. But even though they're worked and they're put under pressure, they've got enough time to raise money for the charity. They run 2 shops, and what we'll be doing on the day is selling the green wristbands supporting autism for £1, and everybody gets there who gets one of them. We're over the moon that we're supporting them this year.
And another link, a Birmingham City link. Paul Tate is the patron of
He is
autism.
indeed, yeah. Tatey, he's the patron. He's a local lad. We love him to bits.
Yeah.
We still remember when he pulled his shirt up.
So does he. He got some stick that day, don't he? 1995.
95, crikey, where does it go? But yeah, Paul will be down, Paul will be with us, and he supports them, he does a lot of work for them. We're having a dinner quite soon, and they're raising money for the charity. We're more than happy to support their charity with our events as well.
So with a bit of luck then, Birmingham City and Aston Villa might put more in your programme.
Yes.
Might even let you go round the pitch with something like
That's what we're
suited and
hoping.
booted.
There's a guy called Nick Maddox, and we can't thank him enough because he runs South Birmingham Scooter Club.
Yeah.
He's really big into the scene. He's got quite a big following. They meet every week, and he was at our last event.
Yeah.
And he helped make it what it was, and I'm sure he'll help make it what it is again this year. And what we're going to try and do, Suited and Booted are sponsoring the Wigan game at St Andrews on April the 29th.
Okay.
And we're going to try and get, fingers crossed, some of the scooters to go round the pitch pre-match.
Yeah.
And promote the event. It'll be on the big screen, and just letting everybody know about Suited and Booted. Essentially, we've got a lot of scooter boys coming to the event, and it'd be really good to let them have a ride out around the pitch.
I'm sure Birmingham City will let you do that. I mean, again, it's no skin off your nose. It's not as though you're going on the pitch. You're going around the pitch, and it's all for it's for charity.
Yes.
It's for Birmingham. It's ambitious.
Yes.
It ticks all the boxes for them. So if I was a commercial manager, I'd say definitely yes now to you.
Yeah.
You always put a good word in, mate. Probably best not.
Probably not, God knows.
Any charge for the camping overnight?
Yes, there is. There's a £5 charge, and that's to get the tents on, and obviously have a shower and everything in the morning. But one of the things that we did last year, the lads camped quite close, and the lassies, and on the Monday morning, they came in and listened to a bit of music, maybe at a lower volume, had a breakfast and got the scooters and went. This year what we're hoping is a DJ in the clubhouse, wake up nice and early, 9-10 o'clock, have a bacon sandwich, get yourself ready for the Sunday, which is going to be a cracking day, and I cannot wait. I'll probably start relaxing and putting my dancing shoes on about 9 o'clock on the Sunday night myself. Because
it is you can't relax till it probably does finish, because there is such a lot of organising to do for this event, isn't there?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. From making sure health and safety is right, making sure the beer's on tap. The biggest, I've got to be honest, the biggest headache for us last year, serving 1,400 people alcohol and drinking at the pace that they drank. We were humping barrels around just to keep everybody well oiled. This year it's going to be more slick, more people, more bars, more security, and hopefully we'll be able to relax. I didn't get to relax last year till the last 15 minutes of the event. This time I've promised the missus, I've promised everybody else that 9 o'clock on the Sunday, that's when I'm just going to relax.
And the weather, of course.
Oh yeah, and the weather. Yeah, last year we had stunning weather. But the thing is, this year, last year we were lucky we had the weather. But this year we've got a marquee.
Yeah.
Last year the bands were in the marquee, but because it's a bigger event now, there's more of a PA set. And more demands by the bands. We've got a big stage this time.
Sure.
So the marquee will be for everybody. And the marquee, we had 750 people jumping up and down last year. So this year, they'll be able to go in there, relax, have a drink. So even if the weather isn't as nice as it was last year, there'll be somewhere for them to go.
And tickets, how do people get hold of the tickets?
Yeah, good question. We've got a load. If you go on our website, Suited Booted, without the and, .co.uk, shows you all the ticket outlets locally where you can go and pick them up. But we're also selling them online at ctickets.com and ticketsellers.com. And they're going quite quick, especially the camping ones. A lot of people want to stay. So we haven't got many camping on site available, although we have got an overspill just a little bit round the corner. So if you want to get on site, get on there quickly and get your camping sorted.
The overspill's called Redditch. And for the Saturday and the Sunday, is there a combined price? It's slightly reduced, or
there is, we're doing an early bird price for the both days, which is £25 for both days. Now, when we were looking at putting on this, we didn't want to make a lot on the tickets. Chris was telling me that Selector on their own at the moment are between £15 and £18. The other bands command anything from 5 to a tenner. We've got 15 bands over 2 days, and £25 for an early bird price for both days, we think is super value for money.
I think it is. I'm going to be giving you 25 quid.
Good, I'll have that off you now, Gabby.
I definitely will. I will do for the 1 6. So I'll give you my 25 quid in a bit. Per day,
Yes.
If someone wants to go, well, to be fair, I don't think I'm going to be coming to the both days.
Yes.
I think that I'm definitely going to the Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think my missus has got me something on the Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
That's the thing, when we're married, they want to do things, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. Why don't you bring her down? I'm sure she'll have a good time. Mine's joining us this year, to be fair.
You know what? I might even give it 50 quid and try and get her down there in the baby as well.
Yeah, it's
Per day.
£15 per day.
Sure.
Yeah. Early bird prices, I think, runs out, correct me if I'm wrong, 1st of May.
Yep.
After that, it's £20 per day. So if you can get your tickets organised early doors,
Yep.
get them £15 for the Saturday or the Sunday, or combine the two, £25.
And us on the Biscuit Boys, on our show, we're going to be plugging it like mad for you.
Fantastic, appreciate
I'm
that.
going to go back to Chris and he's going to tell me all about Sunday.
Sunday, right.
Come on, mate, we woke up Sunday morning, we've
Okay.
had our breakfast, we're
We woke up
absolutely
Sunday
knackered, we're
morning.
having a great day. Who's starting it off?
Well, Mezzi's going to have to start DJing because, that's his role. He's kind of our entertainment manager,
Yeah.
filling all the gaps. Any band has a technical issue, breaks the string, Mezzi's on for a little bit. So we start off with a little bit of Mez, warm people up. He'll play a nice mix
What
of...
time are we starting, by the way?
We're starting at 12 o'clock on the Sunday, so that gives people time to warm
How
up.
about the Saturday? We never-
Saturday again, midday.
Midday, so it's
Exactly
noon.
the same time. Yep.
Yep.
And then we kick off with the first band of the day, who are Little Erm. And Little Erm, local
Brilliant.
lad. You know who he is?
Yeah.
He's big pals with Ocean Colour Scene. He's their prodigy for
Yep.
one of a better description. As an opening act, really, we're not doing him justice putting him on first, but someone's got to start it off. And
Yeah.
Little Erm's local, good lad, and I think he'll ease people into the day. Not too heavy, nice melodic, good lad on an acoustic guitar, perfect to start you off.
If he's got the band with him,
Yep, if he's got a band with him,
trust me, it ain't going to be acoustic. When Andrew gets that trumpet and starts blowing for Just When I Thought, hairs on my neck, they are phenomenal. I watched them at the Jam House recently.
Oh, yes, right, yep.
Stole it.
Yep, well,
Brilliant.
if he
Massive
wants to bring
fan
his
of them.
band with him, he's more than welcome, and I
Yep.
like a bit of trumpet myself, so that's fine. And he'll fit in perfectly with the next band who are Tempting Rosie. Now, Tempting Rosie, for me, they've got one thing wrong with them. It's a bit of a crap name, to be perfectly honest. But they're a fantastic band.
Yeah.
I put them on at Soundbar, they turned up, and they were 14, and you looked at them. This was 5 or 6 years ago. There were a bunch of 14-year-olds, and I thought,
right.
shit, I'm right next to Stairlace Lane Police Station. I'm going to lose my licence over these. But, you know, the local copper took a reasonably relaxed view about it. They weren't drinking, but there were a bunch of 14-year-old kids. They're all classically trained at Birmingham Conservatoire, and they're brilliant. They've recently just supported the Selector up in Birmingham. They're a proper band. They play original ska, and if I was their manager, I'd have got them a different name, and a name that's a little bit got a bit more of a ska heritage.
Yeah.
And that is about all you can fault with them. They'll come out and they'll kick ass, and they play with good people. I had them supporting Neville Staples when he brought his other band into Birmingham. I also had them supporting Palmer International, who were Linville Golding's other band, and Linville loved them. He dragged them all up stage and ended up doing 3 songs with them at the end of his set. And you know, they're only young kids, but they're Brummy kids, and they're talented. And their classical training, you'd never think it, because there's not a touch of opera or anything like that about them. They're pure old school, original ska, and they'll get you moving and dancing. Quality band, that's all I can say about them.
How long are all these bands having? About half hour?
Typically, the bands are having 45 minutes or an hour, apart from the headliners. The headliners will do an hour and a half, and maybe an hour and 45. We've got to be mindful of the residents and curfews and things like that.
What time does it go until, Chris?
Well, we're telling people 11:30.
About half 12.
It depends whether we can cut the phone lines with the local residents so they can't complain. But no, you've got to be mindful and be a good neighbour.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously, long after Suited and Booted has got Alvechurch Football Club is there 365 days a year. So we've got to be mindful of our neighbours.
Sure.
But 11:30, that gives us 15 minutes or so of slack if bands overrun. And they will overrun a little bit. And no matter who you've got doing
Bound
it.
to.
Yep. Follow them up. We've got the Coopers. Everybody knows them. They've got quite strong links in the area. Again, Birmingham band. Strong links with South Birmingham Scooter Club. You see them playing everywhere, all over Birmingham, and everybody knows them. They're well-known faces around Birmingham. They're a covers band, but they're a good covers band, and you know, we're glad to have them on board.
And there's a lovely Birmingham link to what you're doing, and a lot of these artists are from Birmingham.
And I think that's testimony to the fact that it's a strongly Midlands-based scene. You know, there's a hell of a lot of Midlands bands who are into the modern ska. You know, the next band along, the Jam DRC,
Brilliant.
Standing for Direction, Reaction, Change. They're not your typical Jam covers band, They play proper intensity. They wear the Birmingham heart on the sleeve. They're always seen on stage wearing Brumsdale t-shirts.
Exactly, yeah.
As you know yourself, you've seen them.
British Leyland.
Yeah, and that they've got a strong roots to this city. They're great lads. Again, I've put them on many times. They never play badly.
Yeah.
Never. I've never seen them do a bad gig. And they do a lot of the Jam stuff that the real fans
Precious.
of the Jam. Yeah, like they don't just play the hits. They play a lot of the covers, a lot of the B-sides. They really know the stuff. And that could all of these bands could probably play for twice the time. So what you're going to get is the best of these bands distilled into an hour and whatever else, and that's brilliant. So you get the best of them. So that's a Jam DRC.
And Kingy thinks he's a bit of Weller, don't he? To be fair.
In fairness, I prefer the stuff Kingy does these days to the stuff Weller's doing.
I love the way that he remixes, because they remix Precious, don't they? It's a great sound, that is.
And they've got it now, don't they? They know that sound inside out.
Yeah.
And obviously they've branched into doing remixing the stuff because, they've got to keep themselves interesting. They've got to try and do something original with it.
And how good's that drummer?
Brilliant drummer. All of the band are brilliant, and you know that,
Yeah.
No one has seen that band, no matter what venue you've seen them in, has been disappointed. No. And the Jam DRC, we take them for granted in Brum, because they play here so many times. When they play around the country, people absolutely rave about them. And that's no more than they deserve. And there's 4 or 5 Jam tribute bands out there, and I've seen them all, and they're by a country mile the best. And that'd always be my first choice. And anyone who knows the Jam will go for the Jam DRC as their Jam band of choice. And, we're never going to see the Jam back together. That's as near as you're going to get. Just a simple fact.
No, I absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with you. I think King is a front man as a Paul Weller. I think he's absolutely brilliant.
Yep. Then we follow them up with the Universal. They're a band
Terry Shaughnessy.
Yeah, Terry Shaughnessy. I gave Terry Shaughnessy his first ever gig in Birmingham. I've known him ever since. Yeah. When he was a solo artist, they advised him to get his record label advised him to get a band together to make him more commercially viable, which he's done, and he's done that without ever compromising on his music. He's won a couple of awards this year.
The Outsiders, the album.
The Outsiders is a great album.
Yeah.
His first album equally was just as good. The original band, they remind you a lot of the Jam, not in necessarily in the songs they play, in the intensity they play with, and their influences would be fairly similar to the Jams. They would come out that same 60s sort of scene and whatever else in terms of what they like and what they don't. And the Universal, fantastic live band. Everyone who sees them knows it. And again, they're nice guys with it.
Yep.
They come up, it's 100%. And Terry used to come down to Liverpool for me, no notice. And the first album, I did his album launch, so we go back a long way.
Yeah.
And he's bailed me out for God knows how many charity gigs in the past and stuff. Just a top man. So great band, brilliant. Then we've got Badness. Now I've been hearing stories about the last time they played Brum, which was 10 years ago at the Man in the Moon, and people are still going on about it. And that may say a lot about how many bands they have on the Man in the Moon. I think they were the last band to play it. So we might get them there on Monday afternoon, see if they haven't made their way back to Hallweather from, but they're coming down a long way, some of these bands to play. And they don't come down to not turn up. They come down here to play. Badness would headline a lot of these events. But for us, we've got something, even better afterwards. But Badness will come out and they'll entertain. You'll get the best of Madness, and you ain't going to be able to stop dancing because it's that kind of music. And they do it in a really infectious way. And they'll have the whole place jumping up and down. And, for us, an Alvechurch Football Club, that's good news, because the more beer people spill, the more they've got to buy. That's the way we see it. So we want as much skanking as possible, please. So get Nightboat to Corrigan, play it 4 times, and we'll be happy with that. So that again, great band, perfect band to sort of get you going. And then the Selector, are doing the 35th anniversary tour. But if you saw them play, you'd know full well what a good band they are. They're brilliant live. They've got a great back catalogue, and it's the 30th anniversary. They're not focusing on new stuff. They're focusing on the best of everything they've done over those 35 years. And I know a couple of them personally. I know Sticks, the drummer, pretty well. Drummed my wedding last year. He's in one of his side projects that he does. And as long as you keep him with a few cans of Red Stripe, he's a top man.
Who married you, son?
Hey?
Who on earth married you?
Marilyn Monroe. I had to dig her up first, but there you are. But No, so, the Selector, they're a great band. Yeah. And, we're making sure that they get the credit they deserve. And, and one of the things we're confident about here is like the setup on the stage, the sound. We're using, again, a local company, Badness. They do a lot of the corporate gigs for the council and that in Brum. They know what they're doing. Big studios in Birmingham and whatever. And, the whole point of using them is that, the local, good setup, they know what they're doing. And the sound that we've got for the Selector will be the sound we've got for every band. Yeah. So there's going to be a real high quality of sound. It's a really big PA. We've come down and had the site inspection. We're trying to annoy a few residents as possible. So, hopefully pointing the speakers away from Alvechurch Town Centre. Yeah. So we can get some of the locals in. And when we say we're doing it again next year and we put the line up on, we're going to be welcome back. Yeah. And that's the idea. It's not meant to be a one-off. It's meant to be an annual thing. And a real boost to, the Birmingham area, the village of Alvechurch and Alvechurch Football Club. And, you're giving them something no one else is trying to give them.
And who's building your stage? Because that's a massive thing to build that stage.
Rabbana's are building it.
Oh, and, they're doing the whole lot,
So they're doing the stage, the lighting, the whole sound. They'll have 2 engineers on site throughout. And, it's a big undertaking for them.
Yeah, it is.
But that's what they do. And again, they're nice people to deal with, They're decent human beings, I keep going back to them with an ever-increasing list of demands, and they keep chucking you in, and which is my kind of business, so I like that. So, they're doing everything right down to the DJ decks and things like that. So they're good guys, and they know their stuff. Yeah. Their studios are in Hockley town. I've been there. Everybody in Birmingham goes there to borrow equipment off them. They're a pucker outfit, and they'll do a good job. And the Selector today signed off the tech spec, so that's obviously good news, because the one thing you wonder about
signed off the what?
The technical spec of the lineup.
Okay.
So they sent us what they wanted, and you look
at
riders. We've got the riders as well, but no, it's all about sort of how the stage needs to be set up, and what sound required, and all the stuff to enable them to do their things to a full festival standard. Yeah. And that's the equipment we've gone for, and their sound engineers signed it all off today. Broke off in the middle of his tour to do it for us, so we appreciate the effort he's making on that. And again, quality band. And what we want to do is give them the crowd they deserve, and and I think that'll be the crowning glory of it all on the Sunday night. You want to end on a bang, don't you?
And what kind of you're looking at 2,000? Is it over the 2 days, or are you looking for 2,000 people per day?
Well, one of the beauties about having an outdoor football ground is, it's sort of you haven't got an absolute capacity as such. Yeah. It's whatever you're comfortable with. So we're happy with what comes along. Sort of we would like to hope we'll get the crowd it justifies, but you never know. I mean, for us, we think we'll have a decent crowd regardless, and we think if it's sunny like it was last year, we're going to end up with a very decent crowd and a very big event. And we'd like that. That's obviously good for everybody concerned. And if it's sunny, it's great for beer sales, isn't it?
Well, if there's any justice in this world, sounds like a bloody song by them all, that does, don't it?
Yep.
There will be 10,000 backing you, because that is an absolutely massive event. It needs the backing of not just Birmingham, but as you say, Worcester. Yep. It's on that corridor of the M42. It's accessible for the whole country. Yep. We want the whole country to come to Birmingham, because Birmingham is the capital of music.
Well, we're starting to pick up sales from it on the internet. It's one of the beauties of it. We've got adverts, full-page adverts in Scootering magazine. Yeah. That it's 80,000 mods. We've got the big screens on the motorway, on the M5 and the M6. We've had to shorten the adverts a bit, so we don't want people crashing. But we've chosen them near well-known, notorious traffic jam spots. So that's good news as well. That's going on, I think it's 170 times a day, Rich. Yep. So we're doing everything we can to get it out there for people to see, and hopefully that means you're going to see more people from around the country. The bands themselves, obviously they're from literally the four corners of Britain. What we want for them to do is they'll start their promotion push for us in the next few weeks as you get nearer the dates.
When are you going to start? Are you saying to bands now, start pushing it? It's 8 weeks, start pushing it now.
Well, normally with bands, you try to say 5 or 6 weeks before, because they've got other gigs, and you've got to try and be fair to the other gigs they're doing. For most of these bands, this is a priority gig, because it's one of the biggest gigs they'll do this year. Possibly not for the Selector, but for every other band on that bill, this will be the biggest gig they do this year. So from that point of view, we want them to treat it with that kind of respect. And they're all going to do that. They want it to do well. They want it to be a success. They want us to invite them back next year because we love them, and they've done well for us.
Yeah.
And it's a mutual thing. The better we do, the better they do. They want to play. Any band wants to play in front of people, and more people, the bigger the buzz for the band, and that's how you want it. And what we try to do is pick bands who aren't a pain in the arse. We haven't got too many prima donnas.
Yeah.
We've got people who just want to get out there and play, and they're the people who give most people the highest level of enjoyment, because that's what they want to do. They're there to entertain you and get you into their music in the same way they're into it.
Superb. And Chris, tell me about DC Fontana. I've heard a lot about them.
DC Fontana, original band. They're very 60s influence. You can see it in how they dress. You can see it in the videos they do. They're from Tamworth. They're a local band. They've got people they're just accomplished musicians who really know their own stuff. And it's not really mud. It's a 60s vibe. It's almost like being, in sort of, how can I put it? In some kind of like, they film the videos at Port Merion. That could actually be the house band for The Prisoner. That kind of band. And they're really original. They've got a fantastic keyboard player, Hammond organ blaring away there in the background. They make a sound. It's a groove, and they're just brilliant musicians. That's what I can say. I think they'll be debuting their new lady singer. I've not seen her yet, but I've seen the previous two, and both of those have been quality. And if you want to put probably the premier mod band in the Midlands on, then DC Fontana are your band. As I say, original stuff. Great, you look at them, they're visually stunning, and they've got that groove about them. Yeah. And can't say better than that band, really.
And so they don't do covers; they're their own. They're
very much their own people. Though, they're a band have been around for a long time, several albums in. Everybody in the Midlands knows Mark Mortimer on that scene, and when they turn up again, they haven't got a bad gig in them.
It's amazing with some of these bands how they don't kick on and progress, sell millions and millions of songs worldwide. Because they've got the potential, haven't they?
I always say, if you're a London band, you've got about a 1 in 5 chance of getting signed. If you're a Manchester band, it's a 1 in 20 chance of getting signed. And if you're a Birmingham band, it's a 1 in 50 chance of getting signed. Yeah. That's where the music press are. That's where the music industry are. If DC Fontana were a London band, they'd be a much bigger band. And you can say that about a lot of Birmingham bands. That's why we've got to do more to support our own. Manchester does it. Birmingham's can be a bit cliquey and a bit niche at times. And support your local bands, just like support your local football teams. It should be in your blood.
Always is, isn't it?
Yep, always been in mine. So I'd rather have a good Brummie band than a good Cockney band any day of the week. And Tamworth's near enough Birmingham for me.
And if anybody is listening in London, he didn't mean it.
No, I'd say get in touch with your locals and get them down there.
Chris, absolutely top stuff, mate.
Yeah, no worries.
It's whet my appetite. Well, so much I'm going to go and have another Guinness.
Yeah, well, Richard's got his wallet there ready to put that money in.
Tell you what, there can't be bugger all in your wallet now. Retrieve all that money that you're shelling out for this.
It's all gone. Yeah. Do you know what? For me, I've got to be honest, I was a virgin in this scene about last year.
Yeah.
I was an R&B background, and I got talked into it, if I'm honest. What a buzz it was last year when we finished off in the clubhouse. The music that was playing, the music that I've been listening to for the last year since then. I cannot wait for this thing to happen.
Yeah.
I was speaking. A good thing about our club, it is in a village, and the community all pulled together.
Yeah.
We've got farmers dropping off bales of hay for people to sit on. We've got pubs in the area saying if they're there too early, they can come in and have a drink with us. I was speaking about it the last couple of weeks. What we really want to do, because of the way the village community is, we're going to get 2,000 this year easy.
Yep.
The ticket sales are already going well. We're almost sold out of camping.
Superb.
And this time last year we'd sold none.
Yep.
And we ended up with 1,400. We're way ahead of the curve already. Next year we want to get the village involved, make the whole place a festival.
Yep.
Maybe have one band in one pub, one band at the rugby club, one band at us, and just make it a real big event that everybody comes to year after year.
Brave, bold, visionary.
Yes.
I think I'm going to leave it there. Can I finish that?
Cheers, Gabs.
Boys, can I thank you for your time? Best of luck. I'm going to be there. We're going to back you all the way on Sports Radio, and we're going to start plugging it.
Fantastic.
Cheers, Gabs. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Cheers, Gabs.
Thank you very much. Keep right on as well.
I can play back Barry Shaw's from the other night.
Well, thanks for listening. Don't forget, 24th, 25th of May. Second one is Paul Weller's birthday. You know where you're going. Gaffer, get your backside up to Alvechurch. Ta-da.